Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever time it is. Curbmeister Klotz, back in the garage, working on my GT40 kit car. It's a race car replicas kit car. Today, I'll be putting the front suspension back together again. I got the fuel tank in, and I want to set the car on the ground. I already did the other front corner. I never showed you, but I've got some STANCEPARTS air cups. And with these things, I'll be able to raise the car 2 to 3 inches to get in and out of the driveway. My driveway has a particularly bad angle. The road's going one way and my driveway is going the other. And it makes it really hard to get in. It raises hell with the vet. So these are going to be cool. And STANCEPARTS, they're working with me. I got a larger cup originally, and it was going to have to be mounted upside down, and I didn't want to do that. That'd be like a rock catcher. So they make a smaller one. They exchanged my big ones for the small ones. These will be good for my car, and they fit. I had to do a couple of modifications. I'll take you through the modifications. I'll bring you in close, and I'll show you how the STANCEPARTS air cups builds up onto the shock with the spring, and I'll show you the mods that I did. And I think it's going to be awesome because I'll be able to lift the front end of the car to get in and out of the driveway. So instead of dragging. Anyway, stick around. I'll bring you. So I got these cool air cups, and they're just meant to raise and lower the front suspension. You could do the rear suspension. You could do it all the way around. So it's like a piston. The blue part is a piston, and the outside surface is the cylinder, and it's uses air pressure. And there's seals already in here. They're lubed up. Seals in there. So this thing is ready to go. QA1. It's a single adjustable shock. And I'm just going to back it all the way down. So you get a stainless washer. Stainless is some tough stuff. Set that onto there so the spring doesn't wear into the aluminum. 7-inch, 400-pound QA1 spring. Sits right on there. So remember, this works on air, has to make a seal. Seals are already in there. I'm just going to carefully thread this through. All right. So now I got a little space on the top. And for my situation, I needed to space the cup down a little ways. So QA1 gives you this spacer. Perfect. Grade 8 washer between the nut. So this is the lock nut. And we're just going to spin that all the way down. And then this is the upper fitting to the shock. So we'll spin that down all the way too. So now I can put a little tension on it here with this adjustable spring perch. So as I turn it, now it's all tight. So the spring is holding the air cup against that nut up there on the top. And this is the self-locking or the locking collar. So this is ready to go on. And you can orientate this thing any way you want. Doesn't make any difference. So that's good. So I also, Race Car Replica gives you the upper shock mount, which goes right here. And I made a piece of beef to go on the backside. The chassis is 1/4-inch aluminum, so super solid. But you know, if anything can flex, these areas will be under some stress. So I made a backup plate. So, but I needed to pull this away from the chassis a little bit. So I made a 1/4-inch spacer. So that'll all be stacked up right here. And I might just do that off camera, or I can do it on camera. But this is the upper shock mount. So I cleaned off my undercoating so that this the spacer can fit flat on the aluminum, and there's a bend right there, and so I did a little clearance on this shim. Not sure if you can see it on the top, just about 1/4 inch. Fits on there nice. Oh, I got a bolt. That in there. Put this on. Okay, so the shock mount's on. I'll have some detailed photos at the end so you can see, but it's the chassis, there's a spacer, then the shock mount. So I can go ahead and hang the shock. All right, so the shock is just hanging there, but this air cup, I didn't want it to hear that it's hitting the chassis. So by having this shim here and a little bit of spacer on the top, I have about 3/16 of an inch clearance. This is the pin for the bottom of the shock. I like to use a little anti-seize, Loctite anti-seize. Okay, nice and slippery. I got 2 stainless washers so that this bottom part of the shock isn't working on the aluminum, on this control arm. And that pin has a flat surface. And I always like to put a little bit of lube on my threads anyway, even though this is a nylock, when it goes through everything. So all right, I'll get the camera and show you what I got. Here's the up close look at it. So it's secured to the lower control arm. It's got these little tiny washers, so the shock doesn't beat up on the control arm. I might think about putting another washer in there to take up that space. STANCEPARTS. This is the air fitting. So I got a shim that came with it, and then I used a grade 8 5/8 washer. This jam nut locks the top onto the shock, and from the side you can see that I'm coming out 1/4 inch. So that gives me enough clearance here. This isn't going to change, so that's a good thing. You can see it's about 3/16 inch clearance. And then when this comes down, it's also a clearance issue there, but fortunately it stays up and away from that cup. And I'll take you over to the other side. You can see how it looks. So here's the other side, and you can see there's clearance. And as the suspension goes up, the clearance gets better. This control arm goes up, but the shock stays here. Shock is permanently mounted with this area here. So you never lose clearance here, and this clearance just gets better as the weight of the wheels is going to push this up. Well, it'll be exciting for me to put the car on the ground. I'll probably do another video showing you there's a air compressor and an air tank. I might put it in here, or I might put it under here, since there's a lot of foot room in there. No pedals on the passenger side. So we'll see. All right, I'll put you back on the tripod, and I'll put the steering, the hub, and brake caliper assembly on. So the next thing is the hub rotor assembly. All right. I think I'm going to turn that way. Probably have the air coming from somewhere over here. Okay, so the caliper, the rotor, the hub, These ball joints are tapered. Both upper and lower are tapered, so I don't lose my alignment that I did earlier on. So I can set this on here, and it just sits there. I'll put it's a castellated nut, accepts a cotter pin, so nothing moves. And then the steering just kind of stabilizes everything a little bit. So I can let it hang there. Upper control arm, ball joint. I already got anti-seize on it. And I'll get the nut and washer. Another castellated nut and washer. Trying to get the cone to seat. There we go. Washers on the back. And the nut. And hard to do when you can't see what you're doing. There we go. All right, so with the weight on the wheels, it'll really compress those cones, and that's the time to tighten those nuts. So right now, it's loose. I can tighten it a little bit, but it's going to just turn the ball. And right here, I'll adjust the ride height of the car by turning this lower spring mount. Might as well put the front tire on. My new Forge Line wheels. Couple of lug nuts on there. I really like how the wheels came out. Two lug nuts will hold it, just for now. So these are not the tires I want. My friend CJ gave me some old tires, or scrap tires, but that's what I got so far. So that's it for today. Beer drinking time. I'm going to do more shorter videos. Thanks for watching. Like and subscribe. Leave me a comment. You got any ideas? Questions? I'd like to hear from you guys. It's always fun. So As always, Curbmeister Klotz saying, keep the shiny side up and your nuts tight. Just a teaser. Got my floor dollies. Four tires and wheels on. Everything's at full droop. Looking forward to putting it on the ground. Long way to go, but that's a milestone. Fuel system's almost done. Oil system's in the works. Got to get going on the electrical. All right, like I said, just a teaser.